Hello everyone, welcome to another X-Wing video. Today we're going to take a closer look at what we know about the TIE Aggressor. So we did have the spoiler article. I did a video on the entirety of what we know about Wave 11 last week. Now I've had a bit more time to mull over the stats we know and the different upgrades we could do and how they could slot in. So we're going to take a look at the Synchronized Specialist today, which is the Pilot Skill 2 guy. Obviously the platform is 2 attacks, 2 agility, 4 hull and 1 shield. It has the focus, target lock and barrel roll actions. On the upgrade bar we have the turret upgrade, which is what all of the fuss is about. 2 missiles, and it comes in at 17 points for the base Pilot Skill 2 Synchronized Specialist. So that's the only one we know the full details of. Obviously we do have pilot skills for the other guys, but no points cost, so I'm not going to go into any builds relying on them too much. But we do have this one's full breakdown, so that's where we're going to start. So the first one that obviously jumps to mind is the 25 points TIE Aggressor Synchronized Specialist with twin laser turret and lightweight frame. So this guy comes in, as we said, 25 points. You can take an Imperial quad TLT list now, and I think in comparison to the Y-Wing quad TLT, I personally think this one's going to be more fun to fly and give you a lot more options to be making. Having that repositioning, obviously it can't have less green than a Y-Wing, surely. There's no way. Like, we can see the 2 banks are green, so there's no way that the only 2 greens on the dial are 2 banks. It has to have more greens than the Y-Wing. It has to be at least as maneuverable as a Y-Wing. I mean, if you look at just the dial without worrying about colours at all, it can't possibly have a worse dial than the Y-Wing. It's a TIE Fighter chassis. Surely it can't be worse. Dial wise, it's got to fall somewhere between a bomber, Y-Wing, TIE Advance, somewhere around that area. So having access to barrel roll with the different turns and straights does give you a lot of positions you can take up on the table, which really helps play the guessing game against your opponent. It's now got much more to account for on where your range 1 bubble is going to be. So where normally a quad Fug Life player is going to make you choose between, is he doing the 3 hard, or the 4K, or the 1 forwards. Obviously the relative position after that move is always fixed. With these guys, it's, is he going to do, we'll do the same maneuvers just for argument's sake, but is he going to do a 3 hard with a barrel roll? Is he going to do it the other way with a barrel roll the other way, the 4 forwards with a barrel roll? All of these different things get you quite a big area of the table you can occupy, so it becomes much more difficult to try and nail these and pin them down, which also ties into the fact that it should be easier to take advantage of the arc of these guys. If people are at range 1 of you, you should be able to fly in such a way that you're still going to be getting more shots in arc. So I think that they will be just as competitive as the Y-Wing quad TLTs, if not more so, just because of the added flexibility. Lightweight frame on them. If you look at it triggering, you're going to be rolling 3 dice the majority of the time with these guys, whether it's through range 3 obstructions or lightweight frame triggering. So I'm pretty happy to say that this is going to be, if not just as survivable as a Y-Wing, not more so. Obviously it does become dice dependent. If you roll blanks on every roll, it's only got 5 hull or 5 hit points, so it will be worse than a Y-Wing. But I think that there's going to be legs in the build. I do prefer the idea of running them with some of that fun Imperial support that we have in the shuttles and at General Hux or some of the other crew to help with action economy. Being able to give these guys 2 focus tokens is going to be exciting. Well, not really exciting, it's still a TLT list, but you get the idea. So There we go, that's 4 minutes talking about quad TLTs, the joys. Let's have a look at some of the other options we have with these guys. So straight away, 17 points, you can throw in the dorsal turret. It basically makes it a full turreted ship with 2 attack dice at range 1 to 2. And then obviously, even if you're outside of that, you go up to 3 attack dice because of a dorsal turret's ability at range 1. 20 points, you could run 5 of them. Seems decent enough. Whether that extra platform is going to outweigh the extra hits you could potentially get from TLTs, and this is obviously just talking about spamming 4 multiples of the same ship, so I don't know if that'll be a better list, but 20 points is a very reasonable price point and it could be useful. Then I wanted to look at the other card that comes in the pack is obviously Synchronized Turret. So that one is, don't have the reading to hand, but it is an attack target lock, and it is range 1 to 2 with a 3 dice attack. Attack 1 ship, even a ship outside your firing arc. If a defender is inside your primary firing arc, you may reroll a number of attack dice up to your primary weapon value. So that's what it does off memory-ish, I'm pretty sure. So you have to have attack lock, you don't have to spend it. It works well enough if you can acquire that target lock. The reason I don't particularly like it too much on the builds we're talking about today is that lower pilot skill. If you set up to joust your opponent, you should be able to take your focus token and have your primary weapon shot in the first round. Then you need to do a target lock in the next turn as you overfly them, so you can start shooting them out of the back. So there is ways of using it, but I don't know that I like it on a lower pilot skill ship. There's definitely better ways of doing it, but it's in the pack, so we need to talk about it. Then the big card that everyone is talking about is the Unguided rockets. I do have a reading of this one to hand, so that is range 1 to 3 with a 3 dice attack. It is an attack focus, so you need to have a focus token in the same way as prockets. You do not need to spend the focus token. It is attack 1 ship. Your attack dice can be modified only by spending a focus token for its standard effects. So that means that you can't use target lock to reroll. It also means that your opponent can't use sensor jammers on you. You can't be done anything with Palpatine, can't modify them. Nothing can modify these dice for the Unguided rockets. But it does get you a decent platform. So what I'm going to talk about now is a slight variation away from the way I've been doing the closer look ones in the past. So if you look at the TIE Bomber instead, this is another ship, 2 attack dice, where it can get this same upgrade. And I think that the TIE Bomber is probably going to be the better choice. Unless you're really going on a budget, where I think 19 points for the TIE Aggressor Synchronized Specialist with Unguided rockets compared to 20 points for the Bomber with lightweight frame and Unguided rockets. If you have to save that 1 point, I think that the Aggressor is going to be the better option. But outside of that, unless there is something really varied with the dial, you're going to be looking at the TIE Bomber being the better choice. Obviously, it's going to depend on how much better the dial is. It must be a little bit better because you're paying 1 more point for 1 less total hit point. So it depends on the value you place upon the shield over 2 hull. So if the first hit you take is a direct hit, obviously the shield is more valuable or just as valuable. But I think there's scope for it to be better used on a bomber, but whilst the focus of this article is the TIE Aggressor, we'll keep hammering away at that one. So 19 points for it with no other upgrades other than Unguided rockets. I think that it's going to be a nice cheap filler ship. It could take the place of where people would run a Wampa if you've got those extra points to play with in these lists. It could be okay, but I don't know, I'm not 100% sold on how effective this upgrade is going to be. The main problem you're going to have is you're basically sacrificing the focus's defensive properties because you need to save it to be able to fire rockets. And you can bait with it, you can get in there and right, I've got these unguided rockets, you need to shoot me to strip my focus token, and then strip it away, and it doesn't really matter because they're shooting a ship that you want them to be shooting. But I do feel like the TIE Striker would fill this role better. So where we have 19 points for this guy, you could just take a TIE Striker for 17 points base, is it, for the cheap TIE Striker PS1, and use that as a filler instead. But it's going to be to taste. It all depends on if you want those no range modifiers for your opponent, stuff like that. And then the other funny one that I just want to throw in at the end is going to be the potential to run up to 5 TIE Aggressors with auto blaster turrets and just swamp the table with TIEs rolling 2 dice unblockable attacks. And I think that'll be funny. I don't think it's going to see much play or at high-end tables just because of the range restrictions. You could burn down one of these guys pretty easily with most of the modern lists. But I think that there's some good scope to at least try something there. And again, it's 19 points, so potentially has more use than the unguided rockets, depending on what you're flying against. If you're going to use one of these as a blocker, the auto blaster turret could come in really useful. And that's about it. Let me know if there's any blatant builds that I've missed for the Synchronized specialist. Let's get some conversation going in the comments and a back and forth going there. And yeah, once we have more news on the other pilots, I'll be able to give you thoughts on other things. But I think for now, the top contender is probably going to be TLT lightweight frame at 25 points. But definitely the unguided rockets are interesting. It's just what platform you choose to put them on. And I do like the idea for dorsal turret or auto blaster depending on the use. So thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.